Hello and welcome to this edition of the behind the scenes for the Mushroom Princess photo that you can see right here. So I was really inspired by, well, obviously mushrooms, and especially the ones that grow on trees. I think that type of fungus is just so interesting. So I wanted to create a picture with a girl who had that growing on her face. Anyway, so to make the face pieces, I used Model Magic clay. It's an air dry, super lightweight clay that's really geared more towards really young children because it's not very messy and really easy to work with. So I thought this would be perfect for the headpiece and the pieces that would be adhered to the model's face because they're so lightweight and, non-toxic and, again, really easy to work with. So I basically just took little pieces, added texture using a barbecue skewer, and one technique I found that really helped bring it to life was, making some jagged edges and curling out the edges like you would see in a regular fungi growing off of a tree. And so I made a headpiece and had varied sizes of these mushroom fungi bits, and so I really wanted to vary up their texture and their shape, and eventually when I would paint them, their coloring to really give a depth. And for the headpiece I basically just used some headbands that I had gotten from the dollar store, and I ended up using 2. I thought I was going to use 3. I made a bunch of these tiny little mushrooms you can kind of see in the foreground there, but I ended up just using the flatter fungi that I had made. I found that it made a more appealing headpiece. It was more cohesive. There was just too much going on with the little mushrooms. So I did 2 headbands to kind of help layer it, and so there wouldn't be too much weight on either side. And I used barbecue skewers in the back to help support the larger pieces because they kind of had a habit of falling backwards and were prone to cracking, so I wanted to give a little bit of extra support. I really wanted it to fan out to one edge, kind of this beautiful flourish, so that was kind of where I was going with that. And here you can see a close-up of all the texture that was made with the barbecue skewer and the different colors that were used. Next, I decided to make a dress to go with this headpiece, and I wondered a lot about what I wanted to do. Originally, I wanted to have those tiny little mushrooms that I didn't use for the headpiece glued to the model's shoulder, kind of like they were growing right out of her shoulder. They didn't quite stand the test of time when it came to it, but I knew that I wanted to have a dress where the shoulders were bare. So I decided to do something just really simple and have almost like a tube dress with a belt, so elastic around the top bust area, and have these flowy sleeves that were elasticized kind of around the bicep area. So there was a lot of leeway. They were really easy to get into, get out of, and I made the sleeves really long and open, and you don't even really get the full effect of the sleeves in the photo, but I'm glad that I did it anyway. And the next step was photographing some mushrooms that I actually had picked from the backyard. They just kind of sprouted up. I thought they would be really cool to composite in the background of the final portrait to kind of give this surreal, oversized mushroom princess fantasy. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So next there was the makeup application, which took quite some time because you had to kind of wait for all the glue to dry. So we did this very golden sun-kissed beauty look with some white freckles, and then we adhered a mixture of the Model Magic mushrooms that I had made to go on her face, as well as some turkey tail mushrooms that I had found, and I did extensive research to make sure that they were safe to put on her face, and it all went well. And I just used an eyelash glue to put it on. It worked quite well. And then we just went out to the city park and shot in this really nice little spot off the beaten trail, and it's actually kind of close to a baseball diamond where there was a game going on that was very exciting. There were lots of cheers and we just rolled with it. So then going into the editing process, basically just put in these mushrooms in the background and a little bit in the foreground to kind of give a little bit of depth. Did a little bit of dodging and burning to bring out some features, played with the tones and the contrast, and I also ended up taking the white of the dress and just warming it up a little bit so that it kind of flowed a little bit better with the image as a whole and wasn't so stark. And there you have it. It's the final image. Thank you for watching this video and for all your support, and we'll see you next week for another adventure. Bye!